Hello, good morning, guys. Let me know if you can hear me or not. As you've seen in the thumbnail, this is my first time doing this. I have no idea how it works. Awesome, awesome. While we're waiting for people to arrive, let me know where you're from. Are you in Mexico, planning on moving to Mexico in the future? Hi, Sedona. Thanks for being here. As people are hopping on, let me know where you're watching from and if you have plans to move to Mexico. Let me see if I can figure out how to put the comments on the screen. Pin, add moderator. Francie, the mountains sound nice. Hi, Cheryl. Good to see you. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to put the comments on the screen. No, I don't think that worked. Hi, Seiko. I love Mexico City. It is my favorite. You're in Sayulita for the season. Nice. I haven't been there yet. Okay, so today we're just going to take some questions and I'll do my best to answer them thoroughly. If we don't get many questions, I have some people that sent me messages in Facebook comments. I can take those too, but I'll give you guys a chance to ask your questions here first. So it can be about Mexico, it can be about my personal life. Anything goes. If I'm not comfortable, I'll let you know. But I'm usually pretty open. In one of my videos, I was dancing. What dance was it? More than likely, it was cumbia. So cumbia is actually from Colombia, but it's very popular here in Mexico. Danced completely differently in Mexico and Colombia, but it's the one that has like that in the background. It's one of the most common types of music. You'll also have Duranguense, Norteña are very common, at least where I am. As far as like salsa and bachata in this region, it's not so common. I did see it in Mexico City and Guadalajara. I mean, you can find it, but it's not like the go-to type of music. And I don't go to bars, Cheryl, so I'm not sure, but most likely it's cumbias and norteñas, duranguense. Chef Crypto says, "Hi Jenny, used to teach English in China for 7 years to adults and kids, living in Playa part-time and the other as a truck driver in the States until I saved enough to live in Mexico full-time." That's awesome. Was China a big adjustment? And then what part of Mexico do you think you will live in? You come back to Playa? Love your channel. Keep up the videos. Thank you, Chef Crypto. If anyone knows how I can put these on the screen so everyone can read them, let me know. I'm not seeing a button. I tried clicking and dragging it. There's no, I don't know. I'm hoping you find the chance to keep the money flowing so you can stay in your place. Thank you, Francie. If you missed the other video, I've lost a couple jobs. It said I can work from Mexico, and it turns out they lied or they misspoke, whatever the case was. I'm doing fine at the moment. So I think it was my last video or second to last video, I was talking about maybe going home to teach another year or two and save up some more money. I think at the moment the plan is to stay put because I was able to find a job online teaching English, but to Americans, students that just need a little extra help. So I started that this week and I actually liked it. I wasn't sure because it was a bit unorganized at the beginning. Hello from Mexico City. Today is the Day of the Dead parade in Mexico City. Oh, I didn't know that, Amadeus. I can only imagine it's pure chaos. I mean, Mexico City is chaos anyway, and especially when there are events like this. I think my city had a parade the other night, maybe Wednesday night, because I kind of heard it, but I've been sick and I hurt my foot, so I need to stay off of it as much as possible. But I think there are more festivities today since it's the weekend, so I have a class to teach at 11, and then maybe I'll head to the center to see if there are things going on still. Cheryl, how is the Wi-Fi where I live? I mean, it's fine. I've been able to do Zoom classes without any problems. Maybe I had one or two problems, but I don't know if it was on my end or the student's end. It is a little slow to upload my videos onto YouTube if they're more than 10 minutes long. It has gone out a few times, but otherwise I feel like it's been pretty reliable, and I live in a small town. It's not a major city. Chef Crypto, in regards to living in China, yes, it was a huge adjustment, but not so much because I'm prior military, which is kind of the mindset there. Would like to explore more in Mexico for a final resting place. Yeah, that's awesome. Francie, my phone screen has comments along the side, so I see both. Glad it's looking for good for you staying. Yeah, me too, because it was already nerve-wracking driving across the border to get here, and I would hate to have to drive back and then back down again when I make the move, because the goal is to obviously be here. But just with the dog, it makes it complicated where I have to drive. I mean, maybe I could look on into taking her on the plane, with the luggage, but that does make me nervous. Especially, I've seen some videos lately about airlines losing pets. Yeah. So the dog complicates things, but it's looking like I can stay easily. Chef Crypto, aside from saving more money, what would you do differently if you could move to Mexico again? maybe take my time, Chef Crypto. Because when I have a plan, I make it happen, even if it's too ahead of schedule. And I think that's part of the issue is I came down a year too early. I should have given myself a bigger buffer in regards to just planning and saving, because I was supposed to be in my house. Well, my house was supposed to be finished a year ago, in July, but because of the land dispute, it pushed things back. Then I was supposed to be in October 1st, obviously still not in there. So yeah, just be a little bit more patient. Excuse me, guys. And maybe I would have chosen somewhere else. I'm happy here. I like it here. But the whole point, well, when I was initially looking for a house or a land, the idea was to find something like a bigger house so I could rent the extra bedrooms, but it wasn't in the budget. So I kept looking farther out from the city, lesser known cities, and I ended up with a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house anyway. Just because I thought, I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking that I would be able to build something for cheaper than what I was finding like in the heart of town or in larger cities, and it just ended up being the same price or maybe slightly more expensive. But it is what it is. Like I'm still happy with my decision. Seiko Selva says, "How is the house going so far?" I just got an update yesterday that I should be in the week of Thanksgiving, so like the third week of November. And honestly, I think the house will be finished by then. Thank goodness. Will I have, what do you call it in English? The electricity hooked up? I don't know. Because from the time I submitted my application to get it hooked up, they said it will be 15 days at least just for them to come, like, see the situation. Like, is there already a post they can connect from? And then after they come do their little study, who knows how long it is to actually hook it up. So I don't know. I would say by the end of the year for sure. Francie, there were organized celebrations for 3 days here, Tuesday through Thursday. Wonderful fun. Families will have private events through Sunday at the graves. Very nice, very nice. Yeah, so since I've always been a teacher, I was never able to come to Mexico during Day of the Dead because, we can't take a vacation in the middle of the school year. But it was nice to kind of see it better this year. I didn't see it very well because, again, I've been sick this week and I've hurt my foot. I saw a little bit last year because I had to come because of the land dispute. So I was sick that day from work. I was sick a couple days. How would you compare average price of building materials, labor in terms of building a home compared to the States? I just posted a video on that maybe 2 videos ago, Chef Crypto. It depends on like what level of house you want, like basic, mid-range, or like fancy schmancy. But it depends on like which level of house you want and the size also. But it will tell you in that video the price per square meter. But I'll do an update video because I'm not sure exactly, but I think my house ended up being about 60,000 US dollars, and the land was about 15,000 US dollars. And I think it's about 62 square meters, maybe like 150 square feet, somewhere around there. Just 2 bedroom, 1 bath, smallish kitchens, very small living room. I remember submitting my application to get electricity in my studio, and I got the service 3 days after. So I hope it's the same for you. I do too, Oscar. That feels good because it seems like everything drags, which I kind of knew coming into it. But thanks for giving me some hope. Seiko Selva, we need another perrito, please. Another dog. I have plenty. I have my beagle Ruthie, and then if you haven't seen, I am taking care of Sammy. He's like a black lab golden retriever mix that we found living in front of a store. So we're feeding him. We got him his vaccines, and once the house is finished, then I can get him spayed, or not spayed. He's a boy, neutered. Just at the moment, he kind of roams the street a little bit because I literally am renting a bedroom. There's no room. There's not even room for me to stand up hardly. And since the house isn't completely finished, he can escape. So it's just not safe for him to get neutered at the moment. And then I'll try to put him up for adoption. But if that takes a while, like, he's safe with me. But it is really hard seeing all of the street dogs. Oscar, I'm going to be building a second floor starting next year, so I'll have to deal with all of those things again. Oh yeah, good times, good times. But if you're not familiar, it is common for people in Mexico to build their homes in a way that if they want to add a second or a third story later, it is possible. I didn't do that with my house because I knew I wasn't going to have the money or interest. But a lot of times you'll see like what do you call it? They're like the metal poles. I can't think of the word. Still sticking out of the roof just in case they want to keep building later on. Thanks, Francie. Yeah, I think I have, what do you call it? Plantar's fasciitis? I can't think of how you say it. So I've gone to therapy a couple times, and they're going to give me an insole for my shoe. And when I walked in there with my current shoes, she kind of implied that this is the problem because they're kind of those Vans. They're not Vans, but that kind of style where they're flat and they're really, really old because I wear my shoes until they don't work anymore. Hi, Bonnie. Thanks for watching from LA. Still kind of early there. I'll answer a few questions that were submitted in the comments section, and then I'll come back to the ones here. So someone, Yes to Happiness 2721, asked like the pros and cons of building versus renting. I would say if you're like a single person or like a couple of two, and you can just rent like a small apartment or even like a bedroom situation or like a shared kitchen, shared living room situation, that's going to be your best bet. You can get those between like 50 to 100 US dollars per month. So that would definitely be the route to go. If that's uncomfortable, then I would say building is the best route if you can do it in cash. If you're going to end up with a mortgage, I guess it kind of depends on your age. But I paid 100% cash for my house, so I have no debts. All I have to do is pay the utilities. And honestly, the utilities might only come out to slightly cheaper than what I'm paying for my rent here. I'm paying 1,500 pesos, which is maybe like 80 US dollars. It includes all of the utilities and internet. So I imagine that's about what I'll be paying at my house. The difference is at my house, I'll be able to like make a little bit more money because I can rent out the extra bedroom if I want to. I'll have an oven. Right now, I just have like a little stovetop stove, and I was thinking about maybe selling banana bread once in a while. And I'll be able to have my students come to my house to do their English lessons, so that saves me time because I do lose time walking to their house or waiting for the public transportation to come to their house and get back. And it might allow me to take on an extra student or two. And I don't have the expense of taking the public transportation there. Excuse me, guys. Cheryl, I enjoy seeing what day-to-day life is in Mexico in your videos. You show real life things, and I've learned a lot. Oh, thank you for sharing that. No, that's what I hope to do because I know every channel is a little different. Some of them are more focused on tourism, but I try to say things that other channels haven't said or aren't saying, just to give you guys a better idea, so you know if you're trying to move down here, what exactly it is you're signing up for. Sedona, did you use a realtor to find land to build your house? I'm going to type this website in the chat box. I used inmuebles24.com. They have land for sale, homes for sale, and places for rent on there as well. And it was basically just moving the map around until I found something that I liked the location and the price. But I didn't use a realtor per se. It just so happened that it was a realtor selling the land. She's just a well-off lady, and she bought a whole strip of land and subdivided it to sell it. Oscar, the most expensive one is the internet, but still 25% of what the cheapest package is in the US. Yeah, I think you are. Oh, who's calling me? Sorry. The internet is definitely the most expensive of the utilities. The electricity is cheap, especially in central Mexico. You don't really need heating or AC, so really you're running your refrigerator, depends on how much you watch TV, and to charge your electronics, and that's it. Water is super cheap. I'm told that my water here is like a fixed monthly rate of 90 pesos. So that's like 5 US dollars a month or so. In some places it is by use, but I'm told here it's 90 pesos no matter if you use this much or this much. Bonnie Solis, do you have PayPal, Patreon, or Buy You a Coffee accounts? I do have PayPal. I'll leave that here. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for asking. That's my PayPal account. Yes, water is almost free. And then for the garrafones, like the huge 5 gallon water jugs you get for like your drinking water and cooking water, depending on where you get it, it might be 10 pesos or 20 pesos. When I had someone deliver it here and I swapped out my old one for the new one, it was 20 pesos. And not because it was delivered, delivery is free. But if I take the empty one to like, there's these little spouts on the wall, you can just push a button and it refills it like a dispenser. It's only 10 pesos. So that's like 50, 60 cents for 5 gallons of water. But again, since my foot is out of commission this week, I just paid the extra to have someone bring it because I didn't want to risk damaging my foot more. Because here you definitely depend on your feet. So I need it completely healed up so I can at least walk to the bus to get to work on Monday. Okay. Let's see. Yes to Happiness 2721 also asked about real estate taxes. Last year, I paid 1,200 pesos for my property taxes, which is about 60, 70 US dollars. It was supposed to be 1,600 pesos, but if you pay early in January or February, they give you a discount. So they gave me 400 pesos off for paying early. So it's 1,200 pesos. I'll type this out for you. Property taxes. So it's basically nothing. So yes to happiness again, I would say if you can pay the house in cash, building is or buying is the better option. Especially just since a lot of times if you're picky, the houses here are not what they are in the US. Like you're usually not going to get your bathtub and your garbage disposal and your dishwasher. So if you like a lot of those things, it's maybe better to buy so you can change those or build so you can make it just as you wish. I'm not that picky, so it gives me a little more flexibility. And then Agustin JO8MV asked me where I see myself in 20 years. that creeps me out. In 20 years, I will be 58 years old. So I'm not going to have Ruthie anymore. She'll be long gone. Hopefully traveling around Mexico a bit or the world. I would like to go back to Italy, and Israel is still on my list. But otherwise, just living a chill, relaxed life here in Mexico still. Hopefully without too many dogs, because it just breaks my heart to see them on the streets hungry. But I imagine I'll have quite the collection of dogs. You guys can keep the questions coming in the chat if you have more. I just have a couple more that were sent in to me. With a margarita, no, Oscar. I don't drink at all. In fact, I only drink water, like plain water. Once in a while, I'll get like a Gatorade or flavored water like agua de Jamaica or agua de melon, but usually plain water for me. I just feel like maybe I put on weight easily, so I prefer to get my calories from something good like ice cream or cake instead of something to drink, you know? Non-alcoholic margarita. Oh, I don't like to spend my money on that personally. Cheryl says, thank you for all you do for the street dogs. No, I'm sure they really appreciate it. And Cheryl had actually emailed me a question about the dogs. She was asking about like the process of bringing her dog down and the situation with the street dogs. So supposedly I was supposed to have just a little letter from Ruthie's vet saying she's up to date on all of her shots and everything to cross the border via car. It might be different via plane, so don't quote me. So via car, you're supposed to have a letter. It's supposed to be within 14 days of crossing the border. But when we crossed the border, nobody even looked at her. Nobody asked for her paperwork. Nobody even asked for my passport. So yeah, have it just in case. And then yeah, the situation with the street dogs is scary. They will attack people sometimes. Most commonly, they'll attack other dogs. It hasn't been too big of a problem with Ruthie because after we went around the neighborhood, and maybe after 2 or 3 weeks, they're like, "Oh, we know Ruthie. She's tiny. She doesn't even bat an eye at us." However, with Sammy, the lab retriever mix, I'm pointing because he's right there. That's a different story because he is very reactive. When he sees a dog kind of going at him, he wants to go at them in return. So he has been attacked a few times. So yeah, it's to the point where I don't take them for walks anymore at the moment. Also because of my foot, I cannot hang on to Sammy at all. I've just been sticking them over across the street at my house. Now that there's a fence on the front, I can kind of keep them in. As long as I'm washing them, they're fine. I wouldn't be able to like leave them unattended. It's not like that secure yet. So they can run around and play for a while. But yeah, everybody that like goes for a walk, they have these huge sticks because they just know the dogs are going to attack. Or even if you're on a bike or a motorcycle, sometimes a car, the dogs will jump right in front of you on purpose and try and like chase you. It's really scary. Yes, more cake. Yes, cake all day, every day. Thanks, Seiko, for stopping by. Francie, by plane, you need to show papers to get past customs at the airport in Puerto Vallarta. Yeah, I know it varies a lot depending on which country you're starting the trip in and where you're ending in. Some countries are more picky. Thanks for sharing that. Cheryl also sent a question about the pros and cons of living in Pachuca. Pachuca is the capital of Hidalgo. I live near there. I'm not going to share my exact location because I am a solo female person and makes me a little nervous for my safety. Excuse me, guys. But I like the area a lot because there aren't a lot of foreigners here, especially not from the US. I would say there are a lot of immigrants from Venezuela and perhaps Colombia too, but as far as from like the US and Canada, not so many. I've met a few, like there's this one lady who married a Mexican in the US and he got deported, so she followed him here. And I've met a few US born Mexicans that now live here. So it's nice if you really want to integrate into Mexican society. I really also love the climate. Here, well, mostly in central Mexico, the low in the evening is maybe 45 to 50 Fahrenheit, and the high for the day is maybe 70 to 80, depending on the time of the year. When I first arrived in June, it was 90 for like 1 or 2 weeks, and that is like almost unheard of. So yeah, like I said earlier, you really don't need AC or heat. There have been a few nights where I wish I had my space heater dug out of my boxes. I did bring one because, I mean, even for me, like 60 is chilly without heat. I'm very cold natured, but generally speaking, no. I would say Pachuca is a little bit more on the chilly side than where I am because the elevation is a little higher, and it's also a little windy in Pachuca. It's a nice cool breeze. But it's perfect. This is like warm during the day, so you feel like you can get outside and get some sunshine. But then you also feel in the evening you get a relief from the heat as well. Oscar says, street dogs, I think it depends where you live. For example, on my mom's street, there are like 7 dogs, but on the street around, thank you for honking your horn, sir. I can't see the full thing. But on the street around something, you can't find a single street doggy. Yeah, I think it does vary a lot by neighborhood or city as well. And since mine it's not rural, but it's like not in the city center, it's not a major city, it's more common. And if you missed the street dog video, a lot of them are not homeless. People just let the dogs roam for the day, and the dogs come back in the evening. So that does make me feel a little bit better that they are getting food and water, but like because of the cars that are not careful at all, it makes me very nervous and sad. The cons of Pachuca? Mm, I would say there's not really anything to do. Like there aren't really any museums that I know of. If there are, maybe one or two, nothing major. Um, but as a result, the cost of living is incredible. Like Hidalgo is one of the lowest cost of living states in Mexico, as far as I know. um, but I love it. You're close to Mexico City, like an hour from Mexico City. You're like 3 hours or so from Querétaro, a couple hours from Puebla, not too far from San Luis Potosí, a couple hours from Tlaxcala. There's a nice central location. And then in the state of Hidalgo, you do have a lot of things to do. You have a lot of pueblos mágicos. You do have some archaeological ruins. You have Las Grutas de Tolantongo, which are it's like a river that's like naturally heated. That's beautiful. You can go swimming year round. So there's a lot of stuff to do in the state, but like as far as Pachuca goes, it's not very touristy, but you have everything you need. You have a very, very nice mall. Well, a couple of really nice malls and a few smaller ones. I think you have everything you need in Pachuca. Sedona, how is the humidity during the summer? Where I am it's considered semi-arid, so almost desert-like. So maybe there were a couple times it rained. It felt almost humid, but nothing like where I'm from in St. Louis, nothing like Florida. It's usually like a dry heat. You go outside and you feel the intensity of the sun. Like the air isn't warm like you get with humidity. It's not like you open the door and you feel like you open the door to the oven and that blast of air in your face. It's just the sun is very intense and hot, not the air itself. So if you go in the shade, it actually makes a big difference. Whereas if it's humid outside, you go in the shade, it feels like you're not in the shade at all. You're still dripping sweat. I think those are the all of the questions that were left in the comments section. Anybody else have any questions before we close out for the day? Because I do have a class in a little bit and my throat is starting to hurt a lot. We'll give a few minutes for people to ask their final questions here. What can't you get in Mexico? The only thing that's coming to mind is maybe like food specific items. Like if there's a specific brand of chocolate you like or a specific cereal brand, maybe that doesn't exist here. Or you might have to go like to Mexico City to find it, or somewhere that has a large population of US citizens. But for the most part, like if I've needed something, I've found it. I am missing my vegan Reese's peanut butter cups. Um, but there hasn't been anything where like, oh my goodness, I cannot find this. Oscar says he has no more questions. All of the information was great. Thank you, Oscar. No, thank you guys. I really appreciate you tuning in today. I like heat. Yes, I also prefer the heat to the cold, Sedona. I do not like the humidity, though. It does not do anything for my hair. Amadea says, do you like San Miguel de Allende? I have not been there yet. I'm always hesitant to go to places where everybody else goes there. I like to go to like lesser known places for the most part. Or not necessarily lesser known places, but places where I know it's not going to be mostly foreigners. And I get the impression there are a lot of foreigners there. I mean, from what I've seen on YouTube, it seems like it's worth the trip. Oscar says, I hate heat, so I'll be installing a mini split in February. Yeah, whatever whatever you prefer, whatever makes you comfortable. And the good news is you probably don't have to turn it on too often. Francie, thank you for connecting via live. Your energy and drive is extra fun. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your time sharing information about Mexico. You guys are welcome. If my throat cooperates, I'm supposed to record a video today about my health in Mexico, whether it's like improved or declined since moving from the US. Obviously, like this doesn't count. Everybody can get sick once in a while, but like ongoing health issues that I've had. And then hopefully we have a house tour coming up at the end of the month. And what was the other video I was going to make? I can't recall. Sammy's back. Hi, Sammy. You want to come say hi to our friends? You say hi? Oh, there he goes. There's his butt. But yeah, I apologize. I have not been so consistent with the videos lately. I started this new job this week. I've had some students changing their schedules around that put me a little bit behind, and then getting sick. Well, it's not that I feel too bad. It's just like I wanted to rest to make sure I didn't get even more sick. So I got a little bit behind on everything. And I don't know that it's going to get better because I took on extra classes on this online job I started this week. But hopefully over Christmas break, I can get a lot of videos recorded and like scheduled so I can keep a more consistent schedule for you guys. Yeah, but I think we'll call it quits here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and for all of the support. I appreciate it. Enjoy your beautiful weekend. Adios.